through your freedom.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It's been a long weekend. I did a lot of physical training, physical abuse, taking a look at the environment around me, and getting prepared for things to not get better, but get worse. So here we are Monday morning, asking the question, has Russia won? Has the World Economic Forum and the globalists been defeated in Ukraine? Big question. A lot of news supporting that idea. And by the way, tonight will be The Zoo on Monday Night Live, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Time. We're going to kick it off on Monday. I was going to go in and have a regular weekend, then it became an extended SHTF training weekend. And man, I feel great. I also feel like I've been beat up. And just imagine that. Let's see, things get really bad. You have no power. You're living out, bugging out. I did a little bit of a bug out exercise, just a little bit. And you get beat up, tired from it. We've got to be in the best shape up here and in our bodies. Now, on to the topic for this video. Has Russia won? Has the World Economic Forum, the globalists, the Illuminati, have they lost the Ukraine battle? And what does it mean? Or is this all another trick to get us to drop our guard, to goof around, right? Now, this is unbelievable. And you might ask, is this election interference? Because Dementia Joe, El Presidente, right, basically called for regime change in Russia. Now, on the one hand, you can say this is just out of proportion as a comment. On the other hand, you can say, no, it makes perfect sense. You see, Biden was giving a big speech over the weekend, and we got to the end of the prepared remarks. They have teleprompters with the speech on there, etc. Now, Biden got to the end of it and said, he just added in, for God's sake, this man, meaning Putin, cannot remain in power. Right? They went into damage control after that, folks, clarifying what the president said. I love how the president speaks, and it takes an interpreter, a Jen Psaki or someone else, to clarify what the president meant. It's like Biden is God, and we can't understand his words. While they say one thing, right, it actually means other things. We need an interpreter between us and the gods, I guess. Unbelievable. According to a couple of mainstream outlets, Biden's remarks there at the end, for God's sake, this man cannot remain in power. That was not on the teleprompter. You see, folks, when a psychotic dotard is pretending to be in charge, this sort of thing happens. It's got to feel strange, I guess, being the president, but being told what to do and what to say. At the same time, thinking you're president and actually not doing a darn thing unless someone gives you permission. Fascinating, right? But luckily, Putin is already aware that Biden and the World Economic Forum globalists would like to kill him and take control of Ukraine and Russia and the rest of the world. He knows that. So, the rest of the world got scared. Oh my God, Putin could lose his mind and start nuclear war. Well, I don't think Putin will do that. He knows what's going on. He knows who wants him dead. There have been many attempts, supposedly, to take his life in the last few years. Now, the NATO countries, I think, were most embarrassed. And the NATO countries were the most alarmed at this statement that Putin cannot remain in power. Right? NATO nations basically shit themselves, knowing that World War III could be started in their countries. Whoops. They know that they're the ones on the line. Biden is way back behind all of them talking shit over their heads at Putin. Literally, folks. Right? America and Washington, D.C. is a long way from Eastern Europe and Western Europe. If Putin had any grander schemes, they could be in trouble. So the question is, folks, has Putin won this? Is Zelensky playing possum? What's going on, right? Well, this is pretty much looking like the end of it for Zelensky. Zelensky announced he's ready to make concessions with Russia. You see, this is what happens when you lose a war. You admit you've got your ass kicked and you sit down at a table and you sue for peace. Right? So, is Russia losing? We're told that Russia's losing this. Is Russia broke financially? We are told Russia can't afford this. Are the Russian military, are they under-equipped and starving? That's what the mainstream media tried telling us, that Russia isn't sending food for their own troops. We were told that they didn't have enough equipment. We were told that the Russian military was ready to turn on Putin, to ignore his orders, that they're walking away from the battlefield, that they're protesting in Moscow and around the country, that they don't like this. We've been told all of that, folks. We were told that Putin bit off more than he could chew. Right? In every case they could, they tried showing us how bad the Russians were and how patriotic and tough the Ukrainians are, how they were blowing up ships and shooting airplanes and setting tanks on fire. We were told all that, folks. And it turns around that Zelensky said he's ready to make concessions. To me, that really doesn't sound like he's all the way there yet. Right? He said he will discuss adopting a neutral status for Ukraine and will agree to promises on Crimea. What does that mean, right? Well, let's finish up with mainstream media and U.S. NATO mouthpieces and lying to us the whole time this has happened, right? Had they been also lying about the biolabs and the corruption too, hiding the real facts about Ukraine and what's been going on in there? Undoubtedly they have, folks. They have wanted us to believe and hoped beyond hope that the Ukrainians could stop the Russians. It was a long shot of a hope. They kept threatening jets. We're going to send jets to Ukraine, right? As if that would scare Russia. They kept talking about a no-fly zone to keep Russians out. And Russia was like, don't you try that shit, right? Every case, every time NATO and the US and the European countries and the World Economic Forum globalist powers, they kept bluffing. And Putin would call their bluff and call their bluff and call their bluff. And Zelensky, while talking, oh, please stop hurting us, Russia, would come over to the United States and NATO and start screaming about how they needed more tanks, more jets, more equipment, more guns, more ammo. And folks, I'm no lover of Putin, but it's easy to see who's winning this chess match. And it's easy to see that we're being lied to. And if we're being lied to, why should we support the World Economic Forum globalist mega corporations and politicians who are in Ukraine for less than, shall we say, sincere reasons, claiming that a Nazi military and a Fruit Loop of a leader is a hero? It's unbelievable, folks. It appears that if Zelensky, he's ready to make concessions. No. How about you surrender? This is, if Putin's sitting there, he's like, no. You won't be making concessions. Right? They've had a peace treaty in the past between Ukraine and Russia. It was the Donbass Accords or something like that. They had that in place, concessions and an agreement. It's come to military blows, which means one side or the other has to give up. It's called surrender. And you don't get to make the terms of the surrender. The winner gets to make the terms. The loser doesn't get to make concessions. They get to be told what to do, right? And if we're going to be honest about this, when Zelensky surrenders, right, it's not going to be because he wants to, it's because he has to. And the Great Reset attempt, which was to move in on Russia, right, it's failed, right? Putting NATO in Ukraine has failed. forcing Putin to join the globalists. Looks like it's failed. Doesn't matter, folks. The Great Reset is still going. The globalist Illuminati are still going to push us around in the West, in the US, Canada, Australia, Europe, etc. They're going to continue to punish us. They just aren't going to get the big enchilada, Russia or China at this time. Now, once again, what does Putin want? He wants Ukraine not to be in NATO, to be independent, like Switzerland. Right? No military in there other than what little self-defense forces they have. He said he was going to denazify them. Sounds like the Nazi brigades will be leaving, disbanded. Let's see, what else? Yeah, Crimea is now going to be part of Russia. And those two breakaway little states outside of Ukraine on the eastern side, they'll probably be granted state status. Don't expect U.S. maps, political maps, to accept that. Still, here we are. Has Russia won this? Has the World Economic Forum lost their bid to take Ukraine and pressure Russia? We're going to find out exactly how this plays out. But for now, this looks like what is happening. This idea of using war and fear was, I think, for us even, a giant bluff. Scaring the world with World War III, nuclear weapons, biological, chemical. Remember all that stuff, all that talk the last few weeks? Russia's going to do this. Russia's going to do that. And it didn't come to pass the way the mainstream media was playing it. It didn't come to pass that way. It looks like the NATO side is losing, folks. What does that mean for us as preppers? Does that change anything in our world with our economies, our banking system, our socio-political crap that's going on? It doesn't really change much. It just stops at the Ukraine border. So we're going to need to keep being prepared, keep getting in good physical condition, keep aware. Don't be surprised, folks, if there is not, shall we say, more assassination talk or attempts on Putin. They don't give up that easily. They never have given up, folks. They just go away and then come back in a new, shall we say, disguise. And I'm talking about the globalist types. Their designs have always been on world domination. And they're going to keep pushing for it. And we, folks, are in the middle. We're caught in the middle, just like the people of Ukraine. So get prepared, right? Because chance favors the prepared mind. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. And I want to thank you for all your support, and I will see you tonight at the zoo. Godspeed. Semper Fi.